Hi everyone, Chris Nansky here with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching with your Mind of a Champion tip of the week on Facebook Live. This week I want to talk about habits. I recently came across a great quote from leadership expert John Maxwell when he said, "You'll never change your life until you change something you do daily. This means developing great habits." And ultimately, people do not decide their future, they decide their habits. And their habits decide their future. Think about that. I don't know about you, but when I take a look at my life, I see all different ways that I show up in things that I do habitually each and every week. These are things that I don't just do every week. I generally do it every month. I do it every year. They just continue to multiply. And sometimes those are positive things. In fact, I like to think that more times than not, they're positive things. They're things that help me grow and expand and develop as a human being. But there are also habits that I tend to develop that allow me to shy away from areas of growth. They're comfort zones for me. I just get into that habit and they can be totally unconscious. And what happens is when we do those over a long period of time and a sustained period of time, they can really get us off track. So what are some things we can do from a habit standpoint that can really make us break through? You see, one of the things that we need to understand is that sometimes moving out of a habit, hey Ryan, good to have you join me, brother. Sometimes moving out of a habit is one of the most uncomfortable things we can do because we've developed this comfort zone, if you will. And I think that comfort zones get a bad rap. I mean, when I come home from a long day of work and I want to sit in a chair and read a book or watch ESPN or even take a nap, that's a comfort zone that allows me to recharge in a very short period of time. But where we get into trouble is when our comfort zones become places where we pitch a tent or we build a 4-bedroom home. What we do is we stay there. And so what champions understand is oftentimes we need to break through a comfort zone, not when we feel like it, but when we decide to do it and know that the feeling will come later. When I consider myself as a martial art athlete for years, I know there were absolutely times when I didn't want to train. In fact, Tuesday afternoon, which is what I'm filming this in right now, is generally my workout day. And I'm having some difficulty right now. I'm a little tired. But what I found out is that when I put my effort into continuing that habit, regardless of how I feel, generally what happens is as soon as I get moving, as soon as I begin to execute that habit, I start feeling better. In fact, many times during my martial art career, I can think some of the best training sessions I've ever had started on days when I didn't feel great. But at the end, I got in the momentum and it just began to build and I felt awesome. So there's small things that we can do. And I love the quote by the author Anonymous, which says, "Success doesn't happen in a day, but it's something that we practice daily." So what are the habits that you can put into your life right now? The small habits that you can do on a day in, day out basis that can really move you ahead. I'm reminded of this story. And in fact, I wrote about it in my book about this elderly gentleman. Who, when you took a look at him physically, even though he was in his early 90s, he had this amazing body. He had a big, rounded chest and big biceps and triceps, and his legs were like tree trunks. And with the exception of, having some thinning hair, he really didn't look anything like his age. And someone asked him one time how he maintained such great physical conditioning. And with a sparkle in his eyes, he said, "Well, about 70 years ago, I made a decision. I made the decision that every day I was going to do at least one push-up, one sit-up, and one jumping jack." And so the guy looked at him puzzled and said, "What do you mean by that?" He said, "Well, what I realized is if I just did one of those things, as soon as I did the first one, the rest would be easy." See, what he learned was the power of powerful habits, right? Powerful habits. So my question for you is this week, what are the types of habits that you can start implementing in your life? Could it be a habit in terms of your health and wellness? And what are some exercise habits that you can do on a daily basis, whether it's stretching or walking or calisthenics? It's something you can do consistently to make sure you do it each and every day. How could you look at your diet nutrition? Maybe it's pre-planning your meals so you're not eating out. Maybe it's about getting in touch with your spiritual self by having a daily meditation practice. Maybe it's about understanding a little bit deeper about what's going on emotionally by committing to doing a daily practice of journaling. I don't know what it is for you, but each one of us has the opportunity. And it's not like information isn't out there on how you can build those habits. I mean, there are tons of books and programs and articles and blogs all about how you can form amazing habits in your life. In fact, I've written several of them myself, right? And I know that I need to keep looking at that each and every day because it's a choice each and every day. What are the habits that you can really put into your life? You know, Brian Clomer, who's an author, he says that if how-tos were all we needed, we'd all be skinny, happy, and rich, right? So the information's out there, but the decision comes with making the choice to implement the habit and then doing it every day, regardless of how we feel. Because after a while, what will happen is it'll become part of our routine. It'll become part of who we are. So my challenge for you is, what kind of habits from a positive standpoint can you start implementing in your life? Now, if you want a little boost on this, I want to give you a little commercial here. I am so excited that this Saturday, July 20th, in Parker, Colorado, I'm going to be taking part as one of the speakers in an event called the 5 Pillars of Male Wellness. We're going to take a look at emotional wellness, financial wellness, physical wellness, and I'm going to be talking about spiritual wellness. We're also going to be talking about financial wellness. And so in the link below here, just go to bmen.org/events and you can sign up for this. Now, it's going to be geared toward the 5 pillars of male wellness, but women, you're invited as well, because we know that when men and women work together on these, you can really do a great job in terms of enhancing your relationships. So we'd really love to have you join me for this. But in the meantime, if you're not able to join us for that event, please like, share, comment below, because I'd love to hear and maybe some unique things that you do to keep positive habits in your life. So there you have it, my friends. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Chris Natzke with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching, and we'll see you next time on the Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week.